Thanks a lot, Trill. Appreciate you taking some time. When you look across the landscape of college football right now and so many conferences starting to say that they won't play, being on a team and in a conference that plans on playing football, any idea what it's going to be like just playing in what seems like a handful of games on a Saturday compared to the normal, 50 to 80 games?
I mean, the first word that comes to mind is feels like it's gonna be weird, like people. I have friends that play in the Big Ten and other conferences, and not, watching them play also, and feels like we're just gonna be like the only teams for real, like really playing. So it has its ups and its downs, but I feel like college football will be back real soon for everybody.
And you speak of college football coming back. How helpful is that, knowing that, should you guys be able to actually play on Saturdays, that you'll provide fans a sense of normalcy of, okay, it's Saturday at noon. Let's see what college football games are on TV.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's out of our hands, And as players, of course, we love football. We want to go out there and play. We want to play in front of the fans, in front of our family, But like at the end of the day, it's out of our hands. So we just going with what we hear and what the coaches tell us.
Thank you very much.
Next, we'll go to Dan Tortora. Go ahead, Dan.
Trill, how you doing today?
How you doing?
Just what you can say. I mean, you're going into your junior season, so I mean, this is a big opportunity for you to not have this. If you were in one of the conferences that wasn't playing, there might, not be film out there for you for this season, and an opportunity for the NFL. So, how important personally is it for you to play this year?
I mean, it's personal for me every year. I want to play football every year. And hopefully we get the season and I get to showcase my talent and continue to wow people.
As far as what you've had to go through with everything with coronavirus, being tested and different protocol and whatnot, how have you responded to it, and how can you say the team's responded to it? Dino says that things have gone well, the numbers have been good, but just what you can say about going through the protocol and what that's been like.
This is new for everybody, so it's just about getting adjusted and how fast you can, just like football, how fast you can accept coaching. It's just gotta go with the flow. And here it's been good. We just trying to get out there and play.
Thanks, Trill. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Darius Joshua from News Channel 9. Go ahead, Darius.
How you doing, Trill? Thanks for joining us. I can take it that you being here, as you said, you intend to play this year, and you're excited about playing this year. But obviously there were some concerns the team had having those meetings last week prior to practice. How do you, as another leader on the team, kind of sue your own feelings about playing this year while also considering some of your teammates who are still potentially pending, as Coach Baber said, about opting out? How do you kind of share your own feelings with them and take their thoughts and all that and kind of combine it and sort of be considerate of that as you guys go through practices and get ready for the season?
As a whole team, we just want to be safe. That's the main goal, is to keep us safe and go out there and play and know that we're going to be all right. But we got some players that, like, not on the team, but like I'm talking in general, there's players that feel not safe playing, and we have to make adjustments for them. So we're going day by day and taking it one day at a time, make sure everybody's safe, do the right protocol so we all can get on the field and not lose anybody. So that's the biggest goal right now, trying to keep everybody safe and get everybody on the field healthy.
As we've seen with the season so far, I guess before the season's even begun, things kind of changed quickly with all the conferences, as you mentioned, some friends you have not being able to play this year. Kind of how do you try to take that as the weeks go on, not knowing whether a team's going to have a flare up or something like that and a game may be canceled? Kind of how do you, or postpone, how do you sort of approach that as you guys go through these practices, get ready for the season in September?
Like I said, we take one day at a time. My main focus right now is going out to practice today. And we don't know if we're playing or not, but I know we have practice today, so that's our main focus.
Thank you, Trill.
No problem.
Next, we'll go to Brent Axe from Syracuse.com. Brent, go ahead.
Hey, Trill. Dealing with COVID certainly been one thing, and the limited practice time that you guys have had. But I was wondering if you could kind of compare going through last offseason into the season when there was a lot of hype and buildup and people were really excited versus this offseason and the approach that the team has taken to this upcoming season.
Last year was a disappointing year. coming off a bowl game win going into that season. It was really disappointing. We wanted to make everybody happy and the fans happy and, the coach is happy. But, that year is over with. It's gone. It's in the past. And we got new coaches here, and we're going to be ready to go this year.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we'll go to Stephen Bailey from Syracuse.com. Stephen?
Sorry, I just had to get unmuted. Thanks for doing this, Trill. Hope this finds you well. I kind of wanted to ask about your personal experience deciding whether or not to play. Like, we talked to Tommy and Chris Elmore the other day, and Tommy basically said, I was comfortable from the start, and Chris said, he really had to think about it, and he considered using his red shirt and kind of hanging out on campus. What was and is that decision-making process like for you? Did you consider opting out, and what are the variables that you've kind of been looking at and have considered as you weigh the pros and cons?
Well, my thought process through this whole thing is, there's a lot of people that don't want to play, and that's a grown man decision, and I respect the decision if that's what they choose to do and not play. I respect the decision, but until ACC comes out and say it's canceled, I will be playing. I'll be playing until we know something. So
For sure. Then to kind of follow up, I know a big part of the team meetings last Thursday and Friday was about the rest of the ACC and, making sure if you're going to have a season that the other schools are testing the same way you guys are, and you basically feel like you'll be able to finish the season potentially. I mean, that's a long way to go, but I get that. This morning, Florida State had a few players basically call out the coaching staff and administration for how they've handled the pandemic. It's not hard to kind of see the overlap between with what you guys maybe were concerned with and that exact thing going on at another school. So what's it been like this morning among the team? Have you guys been monitoring that? And how concerning is it for you to see players at another ACC school uncomfortable with their own school's protocol and testing?
Like we understand how like other teams like feel going through this whole thing. And at the end of the day, we can't control what the other schools do, and that's why we felt how we felt, because we can't control what they do. We only can control what we do as a family. So hopefully, we can show them the right ways to do things, and they take it, and the ball keeps rolling on, and we all get to play.
Yeah, thanks, Trill. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Next, we'll go to Adam Hillman from the Daily Orange. Adam?
Hey, Trill. How's it going?
How you doing?
Doing good. So I want to talk about Andre. He's been a part of this leadership council, going into his junior year. How has he taken on a leadership role, and what has he shown to you as another member of the secondary?
I mean, I can't speak for him, but from my perspective, that's one of my closest friends on his team, and I look at him as a brother. And I see him, and he's doing his job. He's being more vocal. He's just all around leader. And when we get on the field, it's the same way. He's going to lead, and we're going to follow and get it done.
How is he vocal off the field? How does he help you guys, or how does he? What does he do off the field in terms, to show that?
Like if like one of us feel uncomfortable, he'll come up and he'll make sure we get that player, or somebody feeling comfortable about going through with it.
All right, thanks.
No problem.
Next, we'll go to Mark Larson from Spectrum News. Mark?
Hey, Trill, thanks for being with us. Can you give us an idea of how many guys on the team are still on the fence? Tomorrow's a pretty big day, I guess. The NCAA is basically going to rule on if you get that year of eligibility back. Can you give us, is it half the team that's still on the fence? And if they get their eligibility, do you feel like they're going to opt out? What kind of numbers are we talking about here?
As of right now, we have everybody that's with us right now, and they're going forward playing. So that's all I know for right now, and tomorrow we'll find out. But as of right now, everybody wants to play.
And Coach Babers just said there are some people's decisions who are pending. Do you know of any guys on the team who are still kind of on the fence? Do you think that's a big number?
No. Like I said, from my perspective, and being out there practicing and seeing the looks on everybody's face and the energy. Everybody wants to play.
Okay, good luck, Trill.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Nico Tamurian from CNY Central. Nico, go ahead.
Hey, Trill, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Kind of a break, but there's so many questions about obviously the prevalent thing, what's going on, if the season can happen or not. But I want to talk to you about the very last play you had in competition. It was quite a way to end last year when you had the strip and, of course, the return for a touchdown. When you have something like that ends your season, I mean, how much more does that give you? I don't know what the right word is, a boost going into the new season. How much does that kind of set the tone for what you guys will hope will be a successful season?
Well, what will determine that is how we get through, fall ball right now. I don't really like to, dwell on the past and what I did last season. Once that season ends, I focus on the next season, and that play it was a good play, but I really don't focus on or go back and really, but we just focus on moving forward and what we got now as a team, and I feel like we look pretty good.
Awesome. Thanks, Trill.
No problem.
Next, we'll go to Danny Emmerman from the Daily Orange. Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Trill. Just to hop off of Steven's question from earlier about Florida State and, your team's concerns over other teams and their procedures. In the season, if you personally or if the team decides that, your opponent, their protocols aren't, up to your standards or you're concerned over that, do you envision, potentially boycotting a game or sitting out a week, that kind of thing?
My honest answer is I really don't know, because like I said, we take one day at a time, and I don't know, what's gonna happen in the future. So just one day at a time, and when that comes, then we'll have an answer.
And did any specific teams come up in your meeting in regards to, teams who you're a little bit more concerned over than others?
No.
Thanks.
No problem.
Next, we'll go to Nate Mink from Syracuse.com. Nate, go ahead.
Hey, Trill, I appreciate you doing this. I don't think I'm saying anything you don't know here, but you are gifted with some exceptional athletic traits. I think we can all agree. I'm wondering, as you continue to decide to play here moving forward, why are you comfortable with taking on the risk of any unknown long-term effects of a new virus that may impact your capacity for your performance when you're looking at a potential career path at the NFL?
That's a great question. But no, I feel comfortable. I got my brothers with me, and as long as I got them with me, and we're gonna ride till the wheels fall off.
All right, Trill, we got time for one more question. It'll be Corey Spector from WAER. Corey, go ahead.
Hey, Trill, you've been pretty vocal on Twitter about being disrespected maybe outside the top corners in the conference. I'm curious where that fuel is coming from.
I mean, if you go back and watch the film, a lot of – you really can't say has been no big plays on me. And I feel like my name should be, in the conversation for one of the top DBs in the conference or in the nation, So I feel like if we get a chance to play, and I will show that.
How do you feel that your role is going to change under this new defensive scheme?
Well, right now we're getting adjusted to the new scheme, and I feel like my role will show a lot of versatility. So you'll see me, do a lot.
Thanks, Trill.
No problem.
All right, Trill. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Good question.
Josh, good to see you again. Can you kind of walk me through the daily protocols that you have to go through and weekly protocols just to be able to get out on the field and practice?
Yeah, so we take safety as our first precaution always. So when we get in the facility in the morning, first thing we do is take a temperature check right away. No questions asked, temperature check. You got to go off a checklist for if you have any symptoms, because obviously, if you have a temperature, things might not look too hot in that regard. But just making sure you're coming in, you're feeling good. There's of course there's people all over the country who lie about their symptoms, etc. But we've got everything here we need to test accurately, and we feel really safe with what our university is doing to get us on that practice field every day.
Along those lines of feeling safe, what are the worries that you guys had in those meetings to maybe not play this year, and what's the underlying factor for you to want to get out there and play?
Right. So I'm going to play regardless, no matter what, until the ACC gets the word that it's canceled. There's no doubt in my mind that we won't play. We have to play. Everything's looking good so far. But the main safety concern is the other health conditions, other health problems that come with COVID. If you were to catch it, it's still one of those viruses. It isn't, it's not fully studied yet. I mean, it keeps constantly changing. You have to put everything in consideration for sure. So, just thinking of maybe possible future problems you might have if you were to contract this virus. But I feel like here at Syracuse, we have no chance of getting it up here because everything we do is just so sound. I feel safer here than I do at home back in Illinois, to be honest.
Next, we'll go to Dan Tortora. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Hey, doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Just, like you said, you're going to play no matter what, and you have every intention. You're a redshirt senior, so a lot of people around the country in a position like you, where this is the last opportunity, just to speak on that and how you don't want your swan song to be a canceled season.
Right. So yeah, being a redshirt senior, it's tough when all these things are happening around the country for sure. So it's like one of those things. Okay, if the season gets canceled and it gets pushed back to the spring, how's that gonna work with the NFL draft and all that? And if it's canceled for the entire year, like, do I come back for a 6th year? So there's a lot of questions I have to ask myself. Just speaking to my family on that regard. It's tough. Like I'm getting old. I'm an old head around here. You only have your athletic ability so far, and it's definitely tough. This being my last year and everything like this is happening, and so it's definitely one of those things. Yeah, I just have to really think about and just stay positive no matter what. I've got faith in everything right now, and I believe that there's not going to be any problems for sure.
And Josh, outside everything going on with coronavirus, obviously social justice issues come up. What can you say about trying to lead that charge, and what you can do on the team if you are to play this fall, what the team can do to make sure that we keep the message going and keep the world changing in a positive direction?
So right now, everything kind of happening all over the country and the world. It's all about speaking out. It's all about getting your message across. Social media is the biggest platform right now. So people with bigger profiles are able to get their voice heard. And you see on Twitter all these retweets and favorites. That's like modern day news right there. Nowadays people wake up, instead of turning on the TV to see news, they wake up, see what's on Twitter, what's going on Twitter. And I feel like using your platform on Twitter is a great idea to kind of get all your points across and all that.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Stay safe.
Yes, sir.
Next, we'll go to Brent Axe from Syracuse.com. Brent, go ahead.
Hey, Josh. Been asking the guys the question. I want to get your perspective on this too. Dealing with COVID has certainly been its own, entity. But can you compare going through last off season, coming off such a successful year, a lot of hype and excitement, versus this year and the approach you have coming into this season?
Right. So, I don't really like looking at the past for things, but, last year, we had such high expectations for ourselves. Everybody did. And the way we performed, some games, just didn't go our way. That's a game of football. But, we learned a lot last year. We haven't arrived yet, I like to say. We didn't, coming into camp last year, we felt like, we're at the top. And I feel like as a team, maybe we got a little bit too comfortable with seeing that we're doing good. And so, maybe we kind of slacked here and there about everything. We didn't do things the same as we did, our 10-3 season. But coming into this year now, off that 5-7 season last year, we know what we have to do. We know how to keep each other accountable. Yeah, we have a lot of youth on our team, but they've seen success in this program before. And me being here, going on my 5th year, I've seen it all. I've been through 2 4-8 seasons, the 10-3, and the 5-7. So I know how that team culture has changed within these 4 groups of teams that I've been with. And right now, we're on the right path to continue off building success off that 10-3 season and not worry about that 5-7 season last year.
And to follow up, it's been an interesting adjustment overall, but for the defense in particular, you got a whole new defense to install and put in. You only had a few spring practices, and now that's my question. Like, how are you approaching installing this new defense given the limitations you've had up to this point to do that?
So yeah, right now, all of our heads are kind of buzzing around because we have to be mentally sharp. Right now, it's more mental than physical in camp. Installing a new defense, you learn all these different terminologies, and it's just one of those things that you have to take matters into your own hands. So when you're not at practice, you have to be in your playbook. I know it sounds cliche, and you probably hear that a lot, but you need to be in your playbook. There's new things going in every single day. You can't get caught lacking. If you're a day behind, that sets the whole team behind, because you can't have someone on the field doing something wrong, especially with our new defense, because one little slip up, is going to be touchdown, big explosive play. So we can't have that happen.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next, we'll go to Mark Larson from Spector News. Mark, go ahead.
Josh, appreciate you. And let me tell you, your athletic ability remains when you're older. It just gets a lot slower. So as one of, I guess, 77 teams that still has a college football season right now, do you feel fortunate that you're in a conference that apparently knows what it's doing, or do you feel unfortunate that maybe your conference cares more about making money than keeping its athletes safe?
So that's definitely a good question. When thinking about that, being one of the select conferences to actually play, I feel like it's a blessing for sure, especially for me as a 5th year. I need this extra year for film, just to be on tape, just for the whole scouting purposes, etc. My ultimate goal is to play in the NFL. So this year would be huge for me, especially in this new defensive scheme that we have going on. But, when you're talking about us being able to play and, money becomes an issue, I mean, as an athlete, I just want to play sports. Like, that's all my big focus on right now. But then, there's questions about, you guys are only playing because the ACC and yada, yada, yada. They're trying to make money off you guys. But in my opinion, I like that, we're that selected group. There's more eyes on us. That's more attention towards us. I feel like this, with all these extra eyes on us, it's gonna help us out for sure. We know what we need to do, and just based off that, I just feel like that a lot more attention is going to be coming to the Syracuse Orange. So definitely excited about that.
One quick follow-up. The NCAA is supposed to rule, I guess, on eligibility if you're going to get that extra year tomorrow. How many guys on your team do you expect to possibly lose that might be on the fence right now when that comes down tomorrow? Are we going to lose 10 guys? They're going to opt out? What's your feeling on that?
As of right now, everyone's coming to practice. Everybody wants to play. Everyone's giving good energy. And last couple of practices we actually had has been so, what's the word? It's just been so impactful on all of us. Everyone shows that they want to play this season. And with other conferences starting to fall out, that gives us more of a competitive edge. We have guys competing in practice, going after it. They know their time is limited. And I feel like it was more of a wake-up call, like, man, our season's right around the corner, so we got to get ready right now. And so I feel like that helps out a lot.
Yes, thank you. Stay well.
Yes, sir.
Next, we'll go to Stephen Bailey from Syracuse.com. Stephen?
Hey, Josh. Hope you're doing well. I kind of wanted to ask about yours and your teammates' perspectives on teams around the ACC. Like, I know a big topic of conversation in your meetings Thursday and Friday was doing what you can to make sure that the teams you're playing are doing testing practices and have protocols that will allow you to feel safe and not contract the virus. And if you start a season, potentially finish it. This morning and last night, a few Florida State players came out and said their piece kind of about not thinking that administration and the coaching staff has handled their protocols properly. What's it been like to react to that news within the team? And like, how concerning is it possibly to, I guess, not know still exactly how the teams you're playing are handling this?
So first and foremost, safety is our number one priority. And, you know, waking up this morning, I checked Twitter, I saw, you know, the things going on at Florida State. And, you know, it kind of brings yourself to ask you a couple of questions. Like, I don't know the full details in it. I'm not going to go into that because if I don't know it, I'm not going to say it. But, you know, it just kind of, you start to question yourself. You start to ask yourself things. But, you know, here at Syracuse, we have no problem. I feel 100% comfortable with all the safety protocols we have here. But it's the whole conference when you think about bigger picture. So our teams following these safety guidelines to a T as well as us, you know, that's kind of the biggest concern going on. And, you know, I feel safe with everything going on right now. And, you know, that's just one thing we all have to agree on as, like, in the ACC, everyone follows the same strict guidelines. So, you know, this COVID mishap, you know, just ceases to exist.
So just to follow up, I believe the ACC presidents are meeting later this week. I don't know if that's today or tomorrow. And I would assume the medical advisory board will come out with some kind of update. The Big 12, for instance, is testing 3 times per week during the season. What do you guys want to see from that? And if you don't feel safe or comfortable with that, have you guys already talked about potentially sitting out again, be it practices or games?
So the things that we really want and we're really pushing for is all the ACC schools to be mandated in all the safety guidelines, third-party testing, all of that stuff. No bias with the testing. Everything is fair. Everything is as safe as it can be in the ACC. Because it's not just about us at Syracuse. It's about the entire conference when you're looking at things. You know, we're all football players. We want to play a season. And, you know, you hear teams here and there talk about things, but they're actually looking out for everybody else in the conference also. They're not trying to just be selfish about their team. And that's the kind of way that we feel, feel here at Syracuse. We're looking out for everybody in the conference and all over the country too. You know, this isn't an individual thing. It's a team effort to try to really slow down this virus to make sure that we can play the most safe season we can.
Thanks so much, Josh. I really appreciate your time.
There.
We got time for one more question, Josh. It'll be from Christian de Guzman. Christian, go ahead.
Hey, Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking some time to talk with us. So we've talked a little bit about your athletic ability, and that really showed this past summer with that tweet of your backflip that went viral, and you even got The Rock to throw a little nice quote tweet on that as well. What has been your reaction to the response to that video?
Well, to be honest, yeah, I was just kind of throwing it on Twitter because it's one of those, quarantine activities. And, I just kind of threw The Rock in there, just to be funny. Like, I didn't expect anything about it. About 30 minutes later, my phone lights up. I see Twitter notifications. And I think nothing of it. Maybe a couple favorites, maybe a couple retweets, whatever. I check the notification bar. It says like 10 plus notifications. So that means it's not even loading all the tweets. I was like, okay, now what's going on here? I see The Rock quoted it. I just kind of paused for a second, kind of looked up, just like, is this really happening? Like, that's, he's The Rock, he's the man, Dwayne Johnson, like, come on now. And I was definitely fanboying a little bit off of that for sure. And, just based off that, it kind of gave me a burst of motivation, having someone of his stature to kind of reach out to me. And, that kind of helped me realize that I haven't reached my potential yet in anything that I've done. And there's always more stuff to work towards. And so, that was just awesome that he reached out to me.
And obviously you have a lot of motivation with a new defensive scheme that could really shake up how Syracuse plays defensively. How have you kind of adapted to the new 3-3-5 that Tony White has implemented? And how do you envision your role kind of evolving or improving, like you said, with Syracuse's defense this year?
Yeah, so to be honest, I feel like I'm a perfect fit as a 3-3-5 defensive end. I've always been somewhere in between. So I came in here as a defensive end, kind of scrawny, and then put on weight, and then I naturally became an interior guy. But I was never a full-on, like, your typical 320-pound interior guys. I was more of a quick inside guy, you know, finesse. And now that, you know, I'm around 280, 285 right now, I feel like this defense is perfect for me, being a defensive end. I'm lining up all over the place. I'm moving well, all that good stuff. And I feel like it's going to be really successful for our personnel we have on our team as well.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, no problem.
Josh, really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, yes, sir. Appreciate it.